What if I told you that one simple food, something you can prepare in under 5 minutes, could quietly give you back the strength you thought was gone forever? Not a pill, not a powder, just a morning habit most people ignore, until it's too late. Let me tell you a short story. A man named Ahmed, 62 years old, woke up every day feeling like his batteries were permanently stuck at 20%. His body felt heavy, his legs felt weak, his mornings were slow, foggy, and frustrating. He thought, this is just aging. This is my new normal. But one small change at breakfast flipped everything. And today, I'm going to show you exactly what that change was and why it works. When you wake up in the morning, your body is not starting fresh in the way most people imagine. For several hours during sleep, you have been fasting. No nutrients are coming in, yet your brain, heart, lungs, and muscles have continued working all night. To keep everything running, your body quietly breaks down stored fuel, and one of the places it takes that fuel from is muscle tissue. This process is normal, but the problem begins when the breakdown continues for too long after you wake up. If the first hours of your day pass without enough protein, your body remains in this catabolic or muscle-breaking state. Over months and years, especially with aging, this is one of the main reasons strength fades even in people who are otherwise active. As we get older, the body becomes less efficient at using protein. This phenomenon, often called anabolic resistance, means that small or low-quality protein meals no longer send a strong enough signal to muscles to rebuild. In younger years, a slice of toast or a bowl of cereal might have been enough to get moving without noticeable consequences. Later in life, those same habits quietly accelerate muscle loss. Muscle is not just about appearance or lifting heavy objects. It is deeply connected to balance, joint stability, metabolism, blood sugar control, and overall vitality. Losing muscle means feeling weaker, slower, and more fatigued, even if body weight stays the same. A protein-rich morning acts like a switch. It tells your body that the fast is over and that it's safe to stop breaking tissue down and start repairing it. High-quality protein contains essential amino acids, particularly leucine, which plays a key role in triggering muscle protein synthesis. When this signal is strong enough, muscles shift from loss to maintenance and rebuilding. This doesn't require extreme amounts of food or supplements. It requires timing and quality. Eating sufficient protein early gives your muscles the best chance to respond when they are most receptive. Another overlooked benefit of morning protein is how it affects energy and movement throughout the day. Muscles are not just engines for strength, they are storage units for glucose and regulators of energy use. When muscles are undernourished, the body becomes less efficient at managing blood sugar, leading to energy dips, weakness, and fatigue that many people mistakenly attribute to age alone. By supporting muscle health first thing in the morning, you create a more stable physical foundation for the entire day. This often results in better stamina, steadier hands, improved posture, and even clearer thinking. Protein in the morning also reduces the likelihood of excessive muscle breakdown later in the day. If you start the day without protein and wait until lunch or dinner to consume it, your muscles may have already spent hours in a deficit. While protein later in the day is still beneficial, it cannot fully undo prolonged morning breakdown. Think of it like repairing a wall that has been crumbling all day. The earlier you reinforce it, the less damage accumulates. This is why people who eat enough protein overall can still feel weak if most of it comes late in the day. Importantly, this does not mean eating a heavy or uncomfortable breakfast. The body responds better to moderate, consistent signals than to extremes. A simple, protein-focused meal can be enough to change the trajectory of muscle health over time. When repeated daily, this habit slows age-related muscle loss and helps maintain functional strength, which is what allows people to climb stairs confidently, carry groceries, and get up from chairs without strain. A short example makes this clear. Consider a 60-year-old man who starts his day with only tea and a piece of bread, then eats a protein-rich dinner at night. Despite walking daily, he notices increasing weakness and fatigue. When he changes just one habit, adding 2 eggs and a small portion of yogurt in the morning, he doesn't feel stronger immediately. But after a few weeks, standing up feels easier, his legs feel more stable, and his afternoon tiredness decreases. Nothing else changed. The difference was giving his muscles the signal they needed early in the day. Ultimately, A protein-rich morning is not about chasing youth or perfection. It is about respecting how the body actually works. Strength is built and preserved quietly, through daily signals repeated over time. By choosing to nourish your muscles first thing in the morning, you are not fighting aging. You are supporting your body's natural ability to stay strong, capable, and resilient for as long as possible. Many people wake up already feeling tired, and instead of questioning what they ate the day before, they blame age, stress, or poor sleep. What often goes unnoticed is that the very first meal of the day can quietly decide whether energy will feel steady or unstable for the next several hours. Breakfast is not just about eating something, it is about how that food interacts with blood sugar. When breakfast causes a sharp rise in blood sugar, the body responds by releasing a large amount of insulin to bring it back down. This rapid rise and fall is what creates the familiar cycle of a brief energy boost followed by fatigue, weakness, irritability, and mental fog. Over time, repeating this cycle every morning drains vitality rather than restoring it. Highly refined carbohydrates and sugary foods are the main culprits. White bread, sweet cereals, pastries, biscuits, fruit juices, and even large amounts of honey or jam digest very quickly. They enter the bloodstream as glucose almost all at once. The brain may feel alert for a short period, but the body quickly overcorrects. Blood sugar drops, sometimes lower than where it started, leaving muscles underfueled and the nervous system stressed. This is why people often feel shaky, hungry, or exhausted by mid-morning, even though they ate breakfast. The body interprets these swings as instability, and instead of promoting strength and endurance, it shifts into a conservation mode that prioritizes survival over performance. A balanced breakfast works differently. When protein, healthy fats, and slow-digesting carbohydrates are eaten together, digestion slows down. Glucose enters the bloodstream gradually instead of all at once. Insulin is released in a controlled way, keeping blood sugar within a narrow, stable range. This stability is what translates into steady energy. Muscles receive a consistent fuel supply, the brain stays clear, and the body does not have to constantly switch between highs and lows. Over time, this reduces fatigue and supports better physical and mental endurance. Protein plays a critical role in this process. It slows the absorption of carbohydrates and reduces the speed at which sugar enters the blood. It also supports neurotransmitters that affect focus and motivation. Without protein, even a healthy carbohydrate-heavy breakfast can still cause a crash. Healthy fats add another layer of protection. They delay digestion further and help signal satiety, preventing sudden hunger. Slow carbohydrates, such as oats or whole grains, provide fuel that is released over hours rather than minutes. Together, these elements create a metabolic environment that favors consistency instead of chaos. This matters even more as people get older. With age, the body becomes less tolerant of blood sugar swings. Cells respond less efficiently to insulin, and the nervous system becomes more sensitive to drops in glucose. What once felt like a harmless breakfast habit can later feel like unexplained exhaustion. Many people assume their energy decline is inevitable, when in reality, their mornings are training their body to expect instability. Stabilizing blood sugar early sends a signal that the body can function smoothly, without stress hormones constantly stepping in to compensate. Stable energy also has a psychological effect. When blood sugar remains balanced, mood tends to be calmer, patience improves, and mental clarity lasts longer. This reduces the perception of effort during daily tasks. Walking, standing, and concentrating feel easier, not because the body suddenly became stronger overnight, but because it is no longer fighting internal fluctuations. Over weeks and months, this creates a powerful cumulative effect. Less daily fatigue means more movement, better posture, and greater confidence, all of which reinforce vitality. A short example makes this clear. Consider a woman in her late 50s who starts her day with sweet tea and white toast. By 10 a.m., she feels drained, her legs feel heavy, and she reaches for another snack or more caffeine. When she switches to a breakfast of eggs, a small bowl of oats, and a few nuts, the change is subtle. At first, she doesn't feel a sudden burst of energy, but she also doesn't crash. By late morning, she realizes she hasn't thought about food or fatigue at all. Her energy feels calm and reliable. Over time, this steady foundation becomes her new normal. The right breakfast does not create excitement, it creates balance. And balance is what allows strength and vitality to return. When the body no longer has to recover from morning crashes, it can invest energy in movement, repair, and resilience. This is why stabilizing energy through breakfast is not a small detail. It is a daily decision that quietly determines how strong, capable, and alive you feel throughout the day. When you wake up in the morning, your body is not just hungry for calories, it is waiting for instructions. Hormones are the body's messengers, and early in the day they are especially sensitive to the signals sent by food. What you eat in the morning helps determine whether your body shifts into a state of energy, strength, and motivation, or into a state of conservation, fatigue, and low drive. This is why morning nutrition has a disproportionate influence on vitality compared to meals eaten later in the day. After sleep, levels of certain hormones such as cortisol are naturally higher. Cortisol is not a bad hormone, it helps you wake up, mobilize energy, and stay alert. But without proper nutrition, cortisol remains elevated for too long, which can contribute to muscle breakdown, irritability, and low stamina. A well-constructed breakfast helps calm this response by providing the raw materials needed to balance cortisol with other hormones that support repair and strength. Protein and healthy fats are especially important here because they signal safety and nourishment to the body, allowing stress hormones to settle instead of dominate. Healthy fats consumed in the morning play a key role in hormone production. Many vital hormones, including testosterone, estrogen, and other steroid hormones, are made from cholesterol and fatty acids. When dietary fat is consistently too low, especially early in the day, the body may struggle to maintain optimal hormone levels. This does not usually cause dramatic symptoms overnight, but over time it can show up as reduced strength, lower motivation, poor recovery, and a general sense of diminished vitality. Including healthy fats in the morning gives the body the building blocks it needs when hormone signaling is most responsive. Protein also influences hormones that regulate appetite, energy, and muscle maintenance. Eating protein in the morning increases hormones that promote satiety and steady energy while reducing excessive hunger later in the day. It also supports hormones involved in muscle repair and growth, which is especially important as we age. Without enough protein early, the body may prioritize immediate survival needs over long-term maintenance, subtly shifting hormonal balance away from strength and toward preservation. Another overlooked factor is insulin, a hormone often misunderstood. Insulin's role is not simply to lower blood sugar, it also helps shuttle nutrients into muscles and other tissues. A balanced morning meal helps insulin work efficiently, rather than forcing large spikes and crashes. When insulin functions smoothly, other hormones involved in energy regulation tend to follow suit. This harmony between hormones is what creates the feeling of being physically capable and mentally steady, rather than wired and tired. Morning nutrition also affects testosterone indirectly through its impact on sleep-wake rhythms and stress hormones. Chronic undereating or skipping breakfast can increase physiological stress, which suppresses hormones associated with strength and drive. Over time, this can lead to reduced muscle tone, slower recovery, and a noticeable drop in motivation to move or engage in physical activity. Providing adequate nutrients early tells the body it does not need to stay in emergency mode, freeing hormonal resources for repair, strength, and endurance. Importantly, this does not mean overeating or consuming heavy meals. Hormones respond better to consistency and balance than extremes. A modest but nutrient-dense breakfast eaten regularly helps reinforce a predictable rhythm. The body thrives on rhythm. When hormones can rely on steady signals each morning, they regulate themselves more effectively throughout the day. This is why people who eat balanced breakfasts often report not just better energy, but also better mood, confidence, and resilience. A short example illustrates this clearly. Consider a man in his early 60s who skips breakfast most days, relying only on coffee until late morning. He feels restless but tired, struggles with motivation, and notices his strength declining despite light activity. When he changes his routine to include eggs cooked with olive oil and a small portion of whole grains in the morning, the shift is gradual. Within a few weeks, he notices he feels calmer yet more energized. His drive to move improves, and he feels more physically capable. Nothing dramatic changed except the hormonal message his body received each morning. Ultimately, vitality is not created by one supplement or one workout. It is created by daily signals that guide the body's internal chemistry. Morning nutrition is one of the strongest of these signals. By supplying healthy fats, quality protein, and essential nutrients early in the day, you help your hormones work with you instead of against you. The result is not just more energy, but a deeper sense of strength, stability, and readiness to engage with life. Eating the right foods. Early in the day does far more than simply help you get through the morning. It quietly programs how your body performs for the next 12 to 16 hours. When you wake up, your muscles, nervous system, and metabolism are coming out of a long fast. They are highly sensitive and ready to absorb nutrients, almost like dry soil ready for water. What you give your body at this moment determines whether it operates in a strong, coordinated, and energized way, or whether it struggles through the day trying to catch up. When muscles receive proper nutrition early, especially protein, they are better able to contract efficiently and resist fatigue. Muscles don't work in isolation. They communicate constantly with the nervous system. If they are underfueled in the morning, the brain compensates by reducing output. This shows up as weaker movements, slower reactions, poorer balance, and a general feeling that tasks require more effort than they should. On the other hand, when muscles are nourished early, they maintain better tone and responsiveness all day long. This doesn't mean you suddenly feel superhuman, but everyday movements feel smoother and more controlled. The nervous system benefits just as much. Nerves require steady energy and specific nutrients to transmit signals efficiently. A nutrient-poor breakfast forces the nervous system to rely on stress hormones to stay alert. That may feel like sharp focus at first, but it comes at a cost: shakiness, tension, and eventual burnout. When the right foods are eaten early, foods that provide protein, healthy fats, and slow-releasing carbohydrates, the nervous system stays calm and efficient. This improves coordination, reflexes, and posture, which are critical components of strength that people often overlook. Balance is a clear example of this effect. Balance is not just about muscles in the legs, it's about communicatio. Between the brain, inner ear, nerves, and muscles. If this system is underfueled early in the day, balance becomes less reliable as fatigue builds. That's why many people feel unsteady or clumsy later in the day without understanding why. A nourishing breakfast supports this system from the start, allowing balance and stability to hold up from morning until night. Stamina is another area where early nutrition makes a noticeable difference. Stamina is not about pushing hard for a short burst, it's about sustaining energy without breakdown. When breakfast provides steady fuel, muscles don't have to rely on emergency reserves later in the day. This reduces the feeling of hitting a wall in the afternoon or evening. Instead of energy rising and crashing, it flows more evenly. This is especially important for older adults, whose recovery from energy dips is slower than it used to be. Eating well early also improves how the body handles physical stress later. Whether it's walking, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, or standing for long periods, the body draws on what it received earlier. A strong nutritional foundation in the morning reduces cumulative fatigue. By evening, the body still has something left instead of feeling completely drained. This is why people who eat properly in the morning often say they feel surprisingly capable. Late in the day, even without changing their activity level, there is also a psychological component that feeds into physical strength. When the body feels supported early, confidence increases. Movements feel more reliable, so the mind becomes less cautious and tense. This reduces stiffness and improves natural movement patterns, which further enhances strength and reduces strain on joints. Over time, this creates a positive cycle. Better nutrition leads to better movement, which reinforces physical capability. A short example makes this very clear. Consider a man in his early 60s who usually starts his day with only coffee and a small biscuit. In the morning, he feels alert, but by afternoon, his legs feel weak, his balance feels off, and he avoids stairs when possible. When he changes his routine to include eggs, whole grains, and a little healthy fat in the morning, the difference is subtle but consistent. He doesn't feel an energy rush, but by evening he notices he can walk longer, stand more steadily, and feels less physically worn down. His strength didn't magically increase, it lasted longer. Ultimately, strength is not just built in the gym or during activity, it is maintained moment by moment throughout the day. Eating the right foods early gives your muscles and nervous system what they need to perform well for hours, not minutes. Breakfast becomes the foundation for stability, endurance, and physical confidence that carries you from morning to night. Many people searching for strength and vitality believe the solution must be dramatic. They look for large portions, powerful supplements, rare superfoods, or complex routines that promise fast results. This mindset often leads to short bursts of motivation followed by disappointment, because the body does not rebuild itself through occasional intensity. It rebuilds itself through repetition. In reality, consistency matters far more than quantity, and daily nourishment matters more than any pill or powder. The human body is designed to adapt slowly. Muscles, hormones, nerves, and metabolism respond not to what you do once in a while, but to what you do most days. A huge breakfast eaten twice a week cannot compensate for poor or skipped breakfasts on the other days. Likewise, a supplement taken inconsistently cannot override the absence of basic nutrients from real food. Strength and vitality are the result of thousands of small signals sent to the body over time, not a single strong signal sent occasionally. When you eat a simple, nutrient-dense breakfast every morning, you are providing the body with a predictable pattern. Predictability is powerful. The body learns to expect nourishment at a certain time and adjusts its internal systems accordingly. Hormones regulate more smoothly, digestion becomes more efficient, muscles recover better, and energy distribution improves. This is why people who eat modest but consistent breakfasts often feel stronger and more stable than those who eat large, irregular meals. Large portions can actually work against vitality. Overeating in the morning places stress on digestion, diverts energy away from muscles and the brain, and can lead to sluggishness rather than strength. The goal is not to overwhelm the body but to support it. A balanced amount of protein, healthy fats, and slow carbohydrates sends a clear message without creating strain. Over time, this gentle but reliable support allows the body to rebuild quietly and efficiently. Supplements are another common distraction. While certain supplements can be useful in specific cases, they are not substitutes for daily nutrition. Supplements work best when they enhance an already solid foundation. Without consistent real food, they act like decorations on an unstable structure. Many people take supplements hoping to compensate for irregular eating habits, but the body prioritizes nutrients from whole foods because they come packaged with fiber, enzymes, and natural ratios that the body understands. Consistency also improves how the body responds to movement. When muscles are regularly nourished in the morning, they recover better from daily activity. This leads to improved coordination, endurance, and confidence over time. The body becomes more willing to move because it feels supported rather than depleted. In contrast, irregular eating patterns keep the body in a cautious state, conserving energy and limiting output. This often feels like unexplained weakness or lack of motivation. Another overlooked benefit of consistency is how it reduces stress. When the body is unsure when it will receive nutrients, it relies more heavily on stress hormones to keep functioning. This can erode strength and vitality over months and years. A reliable breakfast routine reassures the body that resources are coming. This reduces internal stress and frees up energy for repair, maintenance, and resilience. Importantly, consistent eating habits shape identity. When someone eats a nourishing breakfast every morning, they begin to see themselves as someone who takes care of their body. This subtle shift influences other behaviors, such as moving more, sleeping better, and making steadier choices throughout the day. Strength grows not only in muscles, but in confidence and self-trust. A short example illustrates this clearly. Consider two men of the same age. One eats a very large, perfect breakfast twice a week and skips or eats poorly on other days while taking multiple supplements. The other eats a simple breakfast every morning, 2 eggs, a small portion of whole grains, and a little healthy fat. After a few months, the second man feels steadier, stronger, and less fatigued, even though his meals were smaller and simpler. The difference was not intensity, but consistency. Ultimately, the body does not reward extremes. It rewards habits. A simple, nutrient-dense breakfast eaten every morning acts like a quiet investment. Each day may not feel dramatic, but over time the returns accumulate. Strength becomes easier to maintain, energy lasts longer, and vitality feels natural rather than forced. This is how real, lasting change happens, not through more, but through steady enough. Strength isn't just about muscles. It's about waking up and feeling capable again, feeling steady on your feet, Feeling confident in your body. Too many people accept weakness as their future when it's really just a nutritional message gone unheard. Your body still knows how to be strong. It just needs the right signal, starting tomorrow morning. If this message resonated with you, don't ignore it. Small habits, repeated daily, rebuild a life. And remember, you're not running out.